Let me tell you a small story. Just wake up everybody after a good meal. It was in 2020 when a 79-year-old woman had to be taken to the hospital. Their family called the ambulance. They were going to the very near hospital, 10 minutes away. But the ambulance was redirected to a 25 to 30 kilometers away hospital. And due to this delay, unfortunately, the person died. And this was one of those incidents that was directly connected towards a ransomware attack. And this was in Germany, by the way. So what happened was the hospital, the nearest hospital, took a hit of ransomware. Doctors were available, there were help available, but their technology, infrastructure, all the machines, everything was down. They had no choice but to divert every single ambulance to the nearest hospital, which was roughly 32 kilometers away. And this was a very, very significant incident, because we always talk about cybersecurity, but sometimes we think that systems are down, but there is no human lives at stake. And the irony is, those people who attacked the hospital actually did not target the hospital at all. It was targeted the parent university. And by knowing this, these people, when the police contacted them, they delivered the decryption keys. But it took weeks to decrypt and bring the hospital to operation. So this is what is at stake. This is what we are trying to protect. So that's why this pillar is so important. That's why we are trying to have this addressed well in this new Vision 2.0. So let me just go through what are the things that we have, why this pillar is important. I think what just I said actually resonates through every one of us. We don't want that kind of incident. And we're talking about Germany, an incident that happened 2020. So no matter how we are prepared, there are always going to be incidents. That is one thing. One thing for sure is always there's going to be an attack, and how we are prepared is the only difference. That's why we talk about national resilience. Resilience is about how quickly we can get up after an incident. And to make that happen, we need to have a very strong institutional presence. We need to make sure regulation is better. So National Cybersecurity Agency, one of the agencies which will be taking part, because we're talking about not only cybersecurity, we're also talking about national resilience. There are other measures of resilience that also have to come together in order to bring this resiliency. So as the leading agency, we talk about mainly on cybersecurity, but we are also talking about the national resilience. So critical infrastructure, trusted services, and citizen rights, trusted services, these are all things we can talk about in detail, but these are all things, components that we are trying to address. We are trying to address all these, and by trying to do that, we also have to talk about how we will do it, right? So to talk about all these things, like sovereignty when it comes to cyberspace, what in the essence is that all the pillars that will be presented, that has been presented, and all pillars that will be presented, cybersecurity is going to support all of them. This third pillar actually have impact on all those pillars. That's what is the message here, right? But let's take a look at where we are now. We can talk about how important cybersecurity is, but we also have to be really brave enough to look at the current situation. I think that is what was the message last night, and that is the message our minister also have given. We know there are issues, and we want your help to address them. And to understand this, we actually can see very transparently what the last 2024 Global ITU Cybersecurity Index says about Maldives. Not pretty. So how does the ITU Global Cybersecurity Index work? It works by targeting different components. So we can see there are some components, legal measures are there. Once our bill is passed, that we can address some of those areas, and we also have other components. Other components that like operational measures. And I don't want to spell out, but you can see where we are. We are in a place of a beginning. But because we know an international organization has done with professional help, they have done the assessment. And this is a very important thing. Now we know where we stand, so we know where to go. We can address these things. So with this 2.0, we have aligned these components very significantly to move forward towards improving our index. So we hope that we will be able to improve our index one tier at a time, and we hope that we will reach the top tier within the next 4 to 5 years if we can address these things properly. And that is our hope. So initiatives have been done. You can see some of the initiatives that has been done which correspond to those pillars. These are the things that have been done. And you can see that some things are in the draft stage, some things need proper endorsement, and this is the platform where we can address all these things. We want your help to criticize these things. We want your comments so that by the end of this, we can say that we have done something that can actually work, practical, achievable, and which also aligns to an internationally recognized roadmap. So things are starting up. So with this 2.0, we have high hope because there is huge commitment and a political will to bring the institution to the full capacity with the strength it needs so that we can secure all the other pillars and secure this entire 2.0 transformation. So that is one thing. What will change for the citizens when we have these measures in place? What does the citizens get? Quickly, let's have a look before and after. Now, cybersecurity regulation is important because some of the very important things discussed today talks about identity, talks about all the other things. We want to have transparency. So we talk about how we can make sure that somebody is regulated, trusted. So with this regulation, we can have proper measures to make sure there is frequent auditing, frequent assessments, penetration testing, to make sure that there is a mechanism, a way to people to really address towards by complaints or with goodwill. Sometimes, if you don't have a mechanism, there is no way for somebody to say, I think there is a problem with that code, or I think there is a weakness in this or vulnerability. They might fear what will happen to them. But having this regulation we can have a legally aligned, legally enabled environment where people can actually send these issues to us. When we have an operational security operations center, which we have with NCIT at the moment, but with this scale, with this magnitude, we need a dedicated National Security Operations Center. Why? Because we cannot protect what we cannot see. And the National Security Operations Center just gives that. It gives us visibility. And one of the hopes of this, and one of the targets of this 2.0 summit is that we exactly know where we want to go and how and when we can actually implement it, and so that we can always show the roadmap along the way. Mandatory compliance, like I said. So we call those things GRC for short, governance, risks, and compliance. Once the act is passed or ratified, we can have regulatory frameworks, policies, procedures that will become mandatory. Hence, we can start this journey of properly addressing the security concerns of the nation. Another thing, when we have a regulatory body, we can always, for example, when we mandate organizations to do audits, one of the things will be there will be demand for cybersecurity professionals. So one way we are also in our act, the draft, there is a chapter on licensing cybersecurity professionals. That means when we start licensing, we can build an ecosystem, we can build the talent pipeline, we can actually encourage. So there is this encouragement as well. Awareness, another key important pillar as well. So I think the talent pipeline is one of the key takeaways, and because we have all the stakeholders, we will be trying with everybody to come up with a talent pipeline nationally recognized so that there is a way, sustainable way of actually doing this. Exposure, fraud, another important area that also will be addressed. Breach notification. Now, at the moment, we don't have a mandatory breach notification for all of nation. Maybe sectorial, there is some as well. Hygiene, cyber hygiene, another area we want to address. How to improve the nation's, the public's, the people's cyber hygiene. For that, we first need to identify where we stand in terms of our public hygiene. Trust. We all have talked about that, right? Trust. And this is another area, how a cybersecurity agency with proper legal backing can make sure trust exists, right? All right, so key strategic initiatives. Again, I have to talk about these things in a very, very quick manner because some of these things I just have mentioned it. Now, the Act, one thing which is already on the way to Parliament, and then we have the national strategy, which is available to download from our website, ncsa.gov.mv. You can have a look at our strategy, which was developed in collaboration with US MITA Corporation as well. Now, licensing framework, SOC, the CERT, this is the incident response team that will be collaborating with the SOC, and the baseline security framework as well as secure software development maturity model. One of the very important things that will address the very concerns that all developers and organizations who write software would have. how can we assess where we stand against the secure software development maturity model? This model will help us understand where we are in every single DevOps cycle, and then will tell us what are the things we need to know to improve our maturity so that we know where we are. So this is for everybody. Every single organization who build and write software code will be assessed against the secure software development maturity model, already drafted and ready for your engagement session. So we're hoping that we'll have this session as soon as we finish this summit, so that every one of you will have a chance to provide feedback. And this is already having a very international orientation in terms of standardization as well. So you actually, a lot of concerns that people have when you put something on the public for everybody to access. How do you make sure proper things are handled? For example, contracting, how to transfer licensing, all the things. Sometimes a very basic thing, you develop something for the government, and then when the government is using it, the third-party license or a plugin expired, and then there is a weakness. These are very small things, but everything is addressed in this secure software development framework. Skill pipeline. So we have a lot of isolated campaigns, and some of the NGOs are doing it, police is doing that, everybody is doing it. But what we want from the summit is that we can have a nationally recognized a single campaign so that we can actually pool the resources together and then utilize them efficiently rather than. So one example is the October month that is being done at NCIT. So there could be another expo somewhere else. So these things will be resource intensive. Why not we combine all the effort from everywhere and then align with something international like child online protection plus these awareness campaigns so that we can actually streamline. That is actually what is being given in this slide, how we can actually align that with the CyberSafe event. All right, priorities. All the things I have said, just to give you more clarity, this is the priorities so far that we want to address. These things we want to address throughout this summit. Challenges. Again, one of the things that we face, I think all the technology community, the tech community will actually acknowledge is that one of the things is how to have a proper salary structure so there is not only vertical progression but a horizontal progression as well. Current methodology is that we have to hire consultants, and then we see that with consultants there is this inequality. A lot of things are happening because sometimes this doesn't work very well. And this is something I think NCIT and other organizations will also understand. So we need a solution for this. And all your suggestions are very welcome to how we can do this, right? So we actually need to address this. Opportunities that we would want is to have all of your input to make sure that all the advantages of the commitment from the government, from the top level to the minister and everybody is giving, because that is one of the most important things. We have to know our why to improve and go forward. And now we know our why we are doing this, right? So last night that was enlightened. And today it was affirmed by our minister. And now we want to know what we can do with your input to make sure that this opportunity of 2.0, how can we best utilize so that we can have a stronger security posture in the Maldives. Now, regional position, I just want to mention very quickly why, because there are so many things happening, like Colombo Security Conclave, a lot of things are happening. So if we can sustainably get the help from all the stakeholders, what we can do is we can have a regional, something we have like October month, we can make it regional. So there is sustainability in it, collaboration. So how can we measure? You might see that that's a very small number, right? We're talking not about the entire staff population, we're talking about the most technical people here. And then we have our phase 2, the SOC and the CERT. We are already working towards achieving it. We hope that we can do it with proper funding, of course. That is the most important thing, proper funding. And the skill development pipeline. And together we think that we can actually achieve what we are trying to achieve. So 2 centers, we are talking about SOC and CERT, and then we have our strategic other areas where we want to actually have the framework enabled, and we want the act passed. These are the kind of things we want to happen. So once that happens, I think then we can say whatever we targeted, we just started to form that. So that is, in a nutshell, what we are planning. That is, in a nutshell, what we want to happen through this summit. But this is not a short journey, and this is not something simple. And we cannot do it alone, right? So like the saying goes, even the journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. I think that single step has taken. So now we feel that every single day we'll go closer and closer to that destination, but it's very hard. The hard things will come. So together, there is hope. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Naufal. And now for our panel discussion on cybersecurity for national resilience. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our moderator, Mr. Mohammad Rizni, Director General of the National Cybersecurity Agency. Joining him on the panel are Dr. Ahmad Naufal Abdul Hadi, CEO of the National Cybersecurity Agency, Mr. Mohammad Naiz, Chief Information Officer at the Ministry of Finance and Planning, and Mr. Hussein Naushad, Senior Government Digital Services Specialist at NCIT. During the panel, if you have any questions, please raise your hands and we will provide the microphone to you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Vital Discussion on Cybersecurity and National Resilience. As we know, digital threats evolves our ability to secure infrastructure, data, which is important trust in as center of this discussion. So I'd like to open the floor for the questions. Anyone?
Yeah.
We have a question over there.
Hello, yeah, I'm Ismail from Oxica. We are cybersecurity MSSP. There are a lot of questions I want to ask. So to start with, I believe we need a national cybersecurity framework as a foundation for developing a cybersecurity resilience framework. So what frameworks and cybersecurity resilience frameworks are taken into consideration?
Yes. Hello? You can hear me, right? So I think a very important question, Ismail. I think we need to have a framework. So because you saw where our posture is, so we want to start to take the most significant one. So one of the key things we want to tackle is let's have a baseline cybersecurity framework. And one of the things we have taken is the Essential 8 of Australia, right? So the Essential 8 of Australia is one of those baseline frameworks we have taken in. So looking at a lot of frameworks, one of the suggestions provided us by some of the international partners was, let's take something that is easy to implement so that we can have a baseline first and then move from it. So I think that answers one of the question. What else?
I mean, the National Cybersecurity Resilience Framework as well. So how about looking at something like NIST CSF, which is directly mapped with CREF?
So NIST CSF is the other one that we'll be actually looking into in terms of critical infrastructure. So what we have now is, for everybody we have a baseline framework. So essential it is that one. And for critical infrastructures we have the NIST, so that it's more robust. And then also I think as you were on the stakeholder engagement also, that we wanted to recognize some of the other standards that are available rather than creating another standard. So one of the things from our stakeholder engagement was addressed that there are so many organizations in the financial sector, especially they recognize certain standards like ISO. So again, if we come up with another thing that is an issue, so can we address something that is not a burden as well as something that can work well? So one of the things we want to address is, let's recognize this, what you suggested is one of the things that we have adopted for critical infrastructure actually.
So, yeah, thank you, Naufal. But the second question is regarding transparency. I think you also highlighted quite a lot about transparency. Even Saida yesterday specified about transparency. So my next question is, in all the pillars, like are we addressing transparency as well? And I believe there are a lot of regulatory bills as well. And I would like to know which of these bills are open for public consultation and which are not open for public consultation, because I believe we need some kind of transparency. I mean, when you open it for public consultation, it's pretty much open for, transparency.
I think very, very important, I think, point that we should have that in the public consultation. Usually, I think the process is when it goes to the Parliament. Parliament has its own process of making it go through the public consultation. So we have done the stakeholder engagement and the draft is ready. So we'll check with the policymakers, and then if it is still possible before that also we can actually put in. But our understanding was that there is a process in the parliamentary process in itself that whenever the bill is gone, that they do the public consultation within the parliament itself.
So I believe all the bills,
as far as we are concerned, we have only the Cybersecurity Act for which we can answer here. So that's why that's the act we are aligned with. So there are other acts, I think, in the pipeline. So I think the next sessions you could ask that question for them.
Okay, so are you saying you are not aware, or there are certain bills which are not open for public consultation?
I'm saying that there are bills like Data Protection Act that has been already, the initial stakeholder engagement was done. And when it goes to the Parliament, it will be open for the public consultation. Since I cannot answer from a AG point of view, there might be bills I might have not known personally, but I think we can, if our State Minister wants to add something, I think.
Yeah, I just have to tell you that both cybersecurity bill and then data protection bill, we have done the stakeholder consultation and now it's in Attorney General office. Now, both these bills were, stakeholder consultation was conducted and with the help of World Bank. And then we got a World Bank expert team, and then they have reviewed these two bills, and they said, the bills that they reviewed in this region, they found that these two bills are one of the best in this region. They have commented very positively. But I'm not sure about the public consultation, but from my understanding, public consultation will be done through in the parliament phase itself. So it's in the Attorney General office, and then we hope that these two bills will go into the parliament very soon.
Thank you so much, State Minister Kinanath. Actually, I was referring to any bill on the Maldives 2.0 for the Digital Transformation Summit, not specifically for the...
Okay, so the rest of the legislative pieces that are going to come up, we will upfront go for public consultation before it even passes to the Attorney General's office. So from the drafting stage itself, we're going to make sure that you guys are in and we do the public consultation. Previously, the norm was that it passes through the government agencies, goes up to the Majlis, and then the Majlis opens it for a very restricted public consultation, which most of the time, a lot of stakeholders in the public sector are not even aware that it was open. So we will try to at least ensure that we have this group of individuals who are in the summit, as well as we will open it up via social media accounts that we have on Maldives 2.0.
Thank you so much, Minister Hussain, for answering the question.
Thank you, Minister, and thank you, Ismail. Keep the questions coming.
Yeah, thank you. So what formal role does the framework define for private sector MSSPs like us in strengthening cyber resilience? Because as you may know, we had a lot of DDoS to private infrastructures as well, like hospitality sector. So MSSPs also need to be ready, and some of these organizations also need to have resilient systems. So what role do we have in the private sector when collaborating with NCSA?
So I think that's a very important question. The role we are expecting is that when we call for these engagement sessions that you come through, as well as when our regulation is published, we want to have this collaborative environment where we can actually get your input in assessing and as well as going through any of those regulatory process. I think we will be very soon getting the consultation for the regulatory framework, and we'll be inviting all the private sector as well to be part of that regulatory framework building process. So I hope that you will get a lot of opportunities there to raise and collaborate as well. So I'll give it to the moderator to ask for anybody else in the audience.
Yeah, gentleman over there.
Maybe.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Muhammad Ishan from Islamic Affairs. Now, thank you for the presentation with relatively reliable numbers. Now, my concern is that since we are at the edge of quantum computing, so what are the measurements that, or is there any measurements has been taken regarding the quantum computing? Now it's not here yet, but within 5 to 10 years timeline, I think it will be here. So I think we should address to those things, because all the security measurements may be obsolete by the introduction of quantum computing. So what are the measurements has been taken or planned for those kind of things?
All right, so it was about quantum computing, right? So interestingly, 2 days back, I just met with the Malaysian Cybersecurity Agency CEO, and they have created in the Malaysia a prototype for quantum-ready algorithm, and then we had talks to actually collaborate on it. So I think soon we can have that collaboration, and this one of the opportunities we can address this. So they are actually opening this up for collaboration, and then one of the first things we have requested is, can we do any academic collaboration, and then from there onwards. So initially they have opened this for the private sector in Malaysia, but because we were able to reach in that session we are hopeful that we can actually collaborate with Malaysian government on that algorithm itself.
Anyone with questions? So, Mr. Nice, when we say that we need development in capacity building or pipeline of skills, what do you see as academically, you're involved in academia, so I think you'll understand how this work in Maldives. Can you explain me some detail?
Thank you very much. In terms of this change in dynamics and the way cybersecurity is evolving, we need to educate our graduates and we need to have developmental programs specifically designed for cybersecurity experts who is going to be taking the role of cyber security experts in the Maldives. At the moment, I see very generic programs are being run in higher education institutes. We should also, in our curriculum, include the latest trends on cybersecurity, how the bad actors actually utilize the freely available AI tools and to safeguard our critical infrastructure. We need a workforce with modern technology, modern cybersecurity awareness, as well as expert knowledge in that. What I feel is that NCSA can play a crucial role in becoming the champion of establishing these new initiatives in collaboration with the national educators, national university, as well as other higher education institutes. Maybe we could also incorporate some of these subject matters in the real curriculum itself so that we will have abundance of talent when the new graduates come out of the universities. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone with questions?
Naushad would like to add something.
Perhaps,
He's
yes.
also a very prominent lecturer, so I think...
Let me also add some comments to what Nais said. I'll first add a little bit comment of what that gentleman was saying in terms of quantum computing and how the cybersecurity space might be changing in the years to come. So this is something definitely that the cybersecurity agency has to take into consideration because the way the technology is changing, it also affects cybersecurity. So two important things, as he mentioned, is, for example, quantum computing. Additionally, we have to say artificial intelligence. Because with the changes in artificial intelligence, it increases the way people are attacking, and also it increases the way we protect the systems and security. So the implementation of security also changes. There is opportunity for it as well. So those are two important things that both the cybersecurity agency is definitely going to consider into policy making as well. Additionally to what Nais was saying in terms of skill development, for me, I personally think there should be two different types of skill development. One in the technical industry where people are actually working in the industry, they need very hectic technical expertise development. These are going to be really skillful certifications, really skillful workshops where they need to expose into the real environments and have that capacity to learn those tool sets and become more proficient in the field. The second important thing is general awareness. The general awareness comes into the education system, including kids even, including kids, because the education system has to incorporate and gamify the learning system so that it becomes something interesting for them to learn and natural for kids when they grow up. They include this as part of their learning process so that it becomes natural. Security becomes an important thing by default. Thank you.
Anyone with questions? Okay, gentlemen.
As soon as cybersecurity agency is here, the mics are not working. Yeah. It's not us.
Assalamualaikum. Orang ke Arif Fahipe ke Faratung gitu. I have basically two questions. First of all, I would like to thank the government for the work being put to transform Maldives into a fully digitalized nation. And Fahipe is one of the few private companies that's already integrated into the EFA systems because we are also a licensed payment service provider. So my first question is, as you've mentioned, we do not have the local talent of expertise in the cybersecurity sector. So what are the plans on developing these talents in the Maldives?
Yes. You had another question?
Yeah, should I
Yeah.
ask the question?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, my second question is, what are the plans on mitigating national level threats that we might face in the future? To elaborate on my question, I would like to highlight, recently we actually had a power outage on May 1st, as most of you might know. And it's been already 10 days, and still some of the services are still not fully restored. I'm sure MMA would have proper guidelines and regulations on disaster management and recovery policies, but still, as I mentioned, there's been already 10 days and these services are still not fully recovered. So what are the plans? My question is not about just the cybersecurity, as we are working on a larger platform on the Maldives 2.0 here, a bigger picture is on the stake. So how do we plan on mitigating such risks?
All right, so I'll answer first the last question and move on that way. So I think you have mentioned a very important thing, and there is a project going on with regards to the National Disaster Recovery and with the DMED World Bank project. And one of the questions that we have to actually answer at this point, while we are bringing this disaster recovery policy, is that what is the downtime we expect, right? So what is our maximum downtime that we want to tolerate from any given service? So one approach would be for an agency like us and say, okay, these are the figures. But then we also want the organizations to also have part of this dialogue, be part of this dialogue. And we had to decide in this disaster recovery policy. I think the output of this disaster recovery policy will be that we will have safeguards and these figures of downtime, maximum tolerance downtime, and these things figured. Then the next step would be to go and then say, okay, you meet this, and what are the funding requirements, right? So like that. When it comes to the talent, I think there is great will that in our position paper and a pillar paper, we have actually highlighted we need at least 50 professionals to be trained annually. That is just the minimum. And this includes not only government, from